Was there an advanced civilization on Earth before us humans? Do you know about the world when there were almost no creatures? The world was always surrounded by over-the-sky hills, lush greenery, brimming crystal-clear oceans, and only a few giant creatures ruling the whole big-ass Earth. There were no cities, no countries, no states, no borders, just vast, enormous land with peace, calm, and serenity. However, it was only until humanity emerged from the cradles of Africa and spread all over the globe. But those creatures weren't as we usually imagine. They were giant, massive, and owned a completely different culture. The making of life in those times was beyond simple. Some tiny creatures called microbes were the foundation of the natural world. They provide food for things like corals, fish, and other animals, which then become food for even bigger creatures. But it wasn't all perfect. There were destructions, no laws, no rules, no regulation, just a few human crew ruling that massive Earth and having the right to do whatever they want to. While making discoveries, scientists have found that there were times when a lot of species disappeared from the Earth, with the most severe event happening about 250 million years ago. Those species, be they humans or animals, straight up went to extinction while the world was only a few billion years ago at that moment. And according to comprehensive research, about 90% of them went extinct. It wasn't a paradise, but rather a part of Earth's history with its own challenges. However, the human crew kept on expanding. Those creatures were not plenty, but pretty few in numbers. But with time, their population started gaining heights. Agriculture stumbles as the biggest game changer. Before people learned to farm, they had to keep moving around to find food and care for their animals. But everything changed once they figured out how to grow food and have a steady supply. They started building small homes around rivers and wherever the food supply and growth were possible. This was around 2000 to 3000 BC when the farming notion started becoming the norm. Even when the population grew further, people started finding more jobs to make a living, like making pottery, clothes, and tools. They traded these things with farmers for food. Every ancient civilization developed in somewhat similar ways, even though they were in different places and climates. They made better containers, like pottery, and built more solid houses. Not only this, but they even began studying the movement of the sun, moons, and stars to track their days. Those people were so talented that they had to develop some form of writing, often using pictures to represent sounds and objects. This was all the transition to a journey from nostalgic life to cultured civilization. That civilization culture extended to almost every continent except Antarctica. But the first ones who experienced this revolution were Iraq, Egypt, India, China, Peru, and Mexico, beginning between approximately 4000 and 3000 BC. First up, we've got Mesopotamia. Half of the world is clueless about this was the earliest and most advanced civilization. It was the birthplace of all civilizations, situated between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, mostly in present-day Iraq. It was pretty fertile land thanks to these two rivers, thus the food supply was more than enough. Whether they were the oldest, the Mesopotamian culture gave birth to one of the most significant things, writing. However, writing wasn't introduced as writing, but they dubbed it as cuneiform. The whole idea was for record keeping and administrative tasks. Even the cuneiform concept was later made to literature, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Not only this, but the 60 factors the whole time dilation works with till today were developed by Mesopotamians. They constructed ziggurats, i.e. stepped temples, walls, and other structures using mud bricks. They were literally the most talented people with pretty remarkable skills. But it was only until the Egyptians started marking cultured history around 3100 BC. Ancient Egypt is, so far, the most romanticized civilization that was kept intact for more than 3,000 years. Its cultural diversity is beyond diverse, known for its innovations, monumental architecture, and distinctive art. It was the time when the world population started expanding, and these Egyptians were playing a great role. The whole civilization was situated around the fertile Nile River and, at one time, extended from today's Syria to Sudan. These people were nowhere near to education and advancements, but their brain was like a Harry Potter wizard. They had developed what was once considered impossible and totally absurd. The Pyramids of Giza, particularly the Great Pyramid, are among the most iconic. The people of Giza, built for Pharaoh Khufu, is one of the largest man-made structures ever created. This was not just a mere structure, but a total awe-inspiring art. It's built with great precision, and the sides of the pyramids are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal points of the compass. Considering the less technology of that era, the precision in construction is astounding. Those pyramids even had complex internal structures, including corridors, chambers, and passages. It might seem that it's just a pile of blocks, but in reality, they were constructed using massive limestone and granite blocks, some weighing tens of tons. Now just think, these people set the hallmark for advancements. They were considered tribal natives, but in reality, they were the most talented and disciplined people that don't exist anymore. Ancient Egyptian civilization also invented hieroglyphics, a system of writing using symbols, which was developed for religious texts, record-keeping, and monumental inscriptions. This civilization even practiced surgery and dentistry, and had an understanding of various diseases and remedies. Not only this, but their solid grasp of geometry and arithmetic was even evident in the great architecture and landscapes they built in Egypt. However, this civilization came to an end when it was conquered by Alexander the Great in 3200 BC. But the advancements didn't stop there, as ancient Indian civilization quickly started making waves. It was around 3300 to 1300 BCE when the earlier known Indus Valley civilization made history. It flourished in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. Its cities, such as Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa, featured advanced urban planning, drainage systems, and a script that's still a mystery. You may have heard about the development of zero and decimal numeral in mathematics, but most people didn't know that the mathematician who developed this concept belonged to this civilization. Even herbal medicines and home remedies were discovered by these people. Surgical procedures were also detailed in old Indian texts, such as the Susmrta Samhita. Well, that was worth mentioning discoveries, but the sheer advancement that people brought in the architects of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro is beyond imaginable. One of the most striking features of these cities was their well-organized drainage system. This drainage system was one of the earliest examples of such sophistication in the ancient world. It consisted of a network of underground brick-lined sewers that ran beneath the streets and buildings of the cities. These sewers were primarily designed to carry wastewater and sewage away from homes and public areas for a healthy habitat. Such a level of approach can't even be found in advanced cities today in 2023. The flush toilets that usually seem accessible in well-developed homes today were pretty common in those areas. The people of Indus Valley have indoor bathrooms and flush toilets. These toilets were connected to the drainage system, and waste would be flushed away through clay pipes into the sewer system. This was a one-of-a-kind engineering maneuver one could never imagine in the 20th century. The people were so talented that they were not even behind in literature. They introduced a vast body of literature in Sanskrit and contributed to the development of various schools of thought, including Vedanta, Nyaya, and Buddhism. But despite the greatness of this civilization, it couldn't stand long and completely destroyed around 1700 BC. Some historians say it was due to overpopulation and abnormal climatic change that caused the Saraswati River to dry out. Others cite a great flood. Now, God knows what's the actual mystery. These advancements were far before all the World War I, World War II, and whatever. These were the people who literally introduced the world to what it meant by technology, advancements, and disciplined civilization. The ancient Chinese civilization also contributed a lot to the advancements we see today. They introduced papermaking around 105 CE, which revolutionized the way information was recorded and transmitted. After the paper, they discovered woodblock printing during the Tang dynasty for mass production of book supplies to spread knowledge. Ancient China is also credited with the invention of gunpowder, which had a profound impact on warfare and later contributed to the development of firearms. They even invented the magnetic compass during the Han dynasty to improve the navigation system. Even paper money, silk-made clothes, and all the agricultural and civil advancements were introduced by the great-grand people of China. All these civilizations literally have set the hallmark for the real advancements in the world. They weren't surrounded by the technology we have today, but even with that, they were far better than many of us. They were all civilizations on Earth before us humans that truly revolutionized the whole world. So that's a wrap. Hit that subscribe button and let us know your take on civilized advancements before us.